have here, Kerissa explains it all. And
Oh Lord.
yes, and Lady May goes off on her son, Jacob, about not forgiving Kerissa when he did the same multiple times in the past, when he would like cheating on her.
Yeah.
Um, so do you feel like Jacob should have forgiven Kerissa? So let's start with that. Let's go with you, Marcus.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's really when it feels completely antithetical to my vision of the show, that rooting for Kerissa, but like at the same time, I mean, she makes a good point. Like she's dealt with a whole lot dealing with him over the years. I think I have questions as to why she's dealt with all that, like why she's kind of stuck around with what have you. But she makes a good
Just want to
point.
be
Like
first lady. She want the money, but yeah, yeah.
really honestly, truthfully, but
Right.
but on the base level, the fact that when you look at the fact that he is done, like people still popping out the woodwork, we still hearing about people that Jacob slept with.
Yeah.
Like when you look at it on a base level, the fact that has done all of this stuff for years and years and years, and she did this, I'm gonna say, cheated on him one time, and he's just like, nope, that's it. That's kind of BS.
I hear
But
you.
is it? I'm trying to remember, but she didn't cheat on him last season, like to get back at him, right? Like, cause he had already been like on a good path. They were like trying to do better, or whatever. But then she was just mad that he didn't want to move. I thought, right? Isn't that how her affair started?
She was, I think so.
So I
think
think
that's
it was
how
weird.
I think that's how she got in contact with the guy, but I think she actually felt some attraction with this. It wasn't just let me get him back. You know what I'm
Well, yeah,
saying? It
yeah.
was
Mhm.
And so I think that's for me why I'm like, I don't think he should, because it was like they had moved past his wrong. And I get that his wrong was a lot. And so that's not to excuse that. But it's like, but if you said we've moved on and we're working and we're building, you can't try to get me back 2, 3 years or however many years later. Like, oh, well, you cheated all those times. But we said we were moving on. So are we moving on or are we not?
yeah. Brandon, I kind of agree. I'm like, what Jacob did was wrong. Um, but Kerissa had forgiven it, and you kind of set a new starting point, and
Yeah.
um you can't necessarily expect the same from your partner if they were in this if the shoe was on the other foot. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
Exactly. And also too, there's a
Um,
difference between like cheating and then like you cheating and you get an STD. Or you cheating and you make a baby. Like now we're adding layers to the cheating. So it's like
right.
But I don't know. I don't know if she was necessarily doing it to get back at him though. I feel like
yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly the situation. But I know she found him because of the whole like housing thing, whatever what have you. But I remember her reaching out to him when they were kind of like butting heads about the whole money thing. Again,
Mm-hmm.
her looking for the money. That's another story. But
That part.
just on like the base level, like it seemed like she was attracted to him, and was like, Jacob isn't doing what I want him to do, isn't isn't being there for me, isn't making me
Yeah.
feel good, like what Jada said. So she went and so she kind of like reached out for somebody that's gonna like make her feel better. So I don't think that she did it like, oh, Jacob cheated all these times, let me get back at him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems a
all
bit
right.
different.
All right. So Lady May was saying this is about how he thinks of women, and by extension, how he thinks of her. And I thought it was interesting that Jacob was like, "You never did anything like this," and meanwhile, it's like, "Yeah,"
That
but
part.
she didn't say that.
Because
So
I
I thought
forgot
that
they
was an
don't
interesting,
know.
Uh-huh.
right, right. So I thought that was an interesting piece that they threw in there. And I also thought it was interesting that she turned her rage on Jacob for like the first time.
Yeah.
And that was like that's like her favorite almost,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
I think he is, honestly,
He
yeah.
is. Mhm.
Yeah. So that was interesting. But then, we have Charity and Phil. So let's talk about these two. Um, so Charity quits slash is fired, and lets it slip that something is in the works to foil H&H's plans. She seems to come back into the fold with her family. I was struck by how disillusioned she was with Phil, And one of my tweets was, I know it's going to happen, but I just don't think I can buy Charity getting back with Phil. You know, for me, once you lose my respect, that's it. So do you think she'll end up with Phil by the end of this? Yeah, Marcus, I see you nodding. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care.
What about you, Brandon?
They can go somewhere, be together elsewhere. This is a couple weeks ago. She don't got nobody else anyway. So go have Phil and keep it pushing.
And that's why I think it's gonna happen.
Right.
Because when her family find out she lied about getting fired, she go in there grinning, talking about something, I quit, I was done. I'm like, when May find out that you really got fired.
Exactly.
She did say that she quit.
That's like a half truth, though. You know that's gonna come back up that she was fired. She didn't leave of her own volition. So then AJ leaves with his father. So do we have any thoughts on that? No.
This whole thing is weird. I just don't.
It's getting weird.
Because it's like, I get that you might have whatever feelings over towards Grace, but I'm like, but you don't even know this man that, you know, is your father, but you don't know him at all. Like, this is your second meeting with him. Like, I'm confused.
I'm just gonna hope that this isn't their way of writing him off of the series, because if that ends up being the last time that we see him, I need to write some letters.
Because you wasted the last 3 episodes for me.
Right. I'm just like, what was all of last season for? What was this whole beginning of this season for? Like, I need them to give me something
to make. I wanted to know about old buddy at the gravesite who's dead.
Right. I need them to give me something. Y'all can't just be throwing stuff in here just for the sake of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah. So that's that. And then we end. We have Bishop and Tara, who is Basie and Rochelle's half sister. They had a heart-to-heart where they agreed the whole business about the house was over. And by the end, Tara calls Bishop back, letting us know it's not over. So I want to know what you guys think of this. Where is this going? What's going to happen?
I have no clue, but I knew not to trust her. But I mean, even last week though, she was like calling somebody, and she was like, "Bishop just came to talk to me or whatever." I'm like, "Who on the phone?"
Basic.
Right?
You think it's basic?
I do.
All right. I mean, I think it might be Rochelle. I don't know.
I'd be down for that.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
But even if it is Rochelle, I'm with you. I don't think Basie's dead at all. So.
Right. I think I talking to you guys these past few weeks, I've been convinced that there's going to be some kind of
it's a
resurrection. If they're right.
But I just don't. I'm like, where is this going? Like,
right. You can never tell. But I do think that this episode was but they had a lot going on. I think it was one of the better episodes because it moved the plot forward on a lot of different levels. And Judy still gets on my nerves so much. And when she was in front of Phil on her knees, no, okay, I'm just. I was like, girl, what are you doing?
Stop. Please stop.
Exactly, Brandon. Wait, real quick. I'm sorry. I just had a question. I'm sorry. I just thought about it. Judy and Phil are living together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah.
And they're over the church, right?
They're what?
And they're over the church.
Yeah, because she said about being first lady.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Why? What does that mean?
Because they're not married yet. I'm like, what are we doing?
They're shacking up.
And yeah, I have Love Eternal is speaking to us saying Judy is still married, all caps.
She is.
So this is quite messy.
So she's married and she's engaged and she's over the church.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
But they want to get rid of Lady May and Bishop. For some tax issues. I mean, which is still problematic, but
right. Now that brings up a good question because do you think Judy's husband will come into the picture at some point?
You're gonna have to
think about that. I ain't
It'll
think
be
about that.
I
interesting to
forgot she
see.
was still married.
Yeah, I forgot she was still married too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We got episode 5 coming Tuesday. Amen.
Amen.
Same.